What's happening, guys? VenomousFatman here, and I got a brand new OTGT for you. This time I'm talking about a brand new game that just came out not even a couple of days ago. It's from the Nintendo DS. You guys know how much of a Square Enix fan I am. I'm talking about Kingdom Hearts Recoded for the Nintendo DS. Now, here's the deal about this game. What this game is not pretty much anything that has anything particularly to do with the canon that's established from Kingdom Hearts 1 all the way to Kingdom Hearts 2. This doesn't fit anywhere in between anything for the most part, if anything. This is pretty much a remake of a mobile phone game that was kind of like a spin-off from the original series, or from the original game, I should say, because a lot of the stuff that goes on, it's basically about, without giving too much away, that Mickey, Donald, and Goofy have Jiminy's journal, and they're going through and they're importing into this type of computer that they have, and it's almost reliving and going through most of the events that go on there. Now, while it's being digitized, there's a whole bunch of stuff that happens that allows bugs and glitches to occur, and you have these different enemies that start going all over the place and screwing up what's going on. So they devise a plan that creates a digitized Sora that they're going to use to actually fix up all the bugs and glitches of what's going on. There's a whole bunch of other slew of stuff that happens. I really don't want to give it away because I know a lot of Kingdom Hearts fans want to play through it, getting all set for Kingdom Hearts 3DS and stuff. But trust me, you're going to enjoy this. I really enjoyed playing it so far. I've gone through pretty much a huge chunk of the game. I'm like at the tail end of finishing it. I've seen most of the worlds that are already on there. I have to say, the gameplay is really, really good. This is better than 358/2. What pretty much this game does, it totally scraps out most of the original concepts that were in the mobile phone game of which it's based on. It takes some of those gameplay elements and stuff, because each different world of Kingdom Hearts Recoded has a different style or theme to it of a different particular type of gameplay element. Meaning this: in one level, where, for example, Wonderland, the final boss area which you fight, without giving story plots away, but the way you actually fight the final boss on there is similar to that of a rail shooter, where Sora is kind of sliding along this platform and stuff, moving around, and he's actually shooting at this giant Heartless that he's fighting, or this giant bug that he's fighting, a whole bunch of stuff. You'll see what I'm talking about. Another example is like this. When you get to the Olympic Coliseum, which is the Hercules themed world, the whole style of the gameplay that goes on in there is themed to that of a traditional RPG, turn-based battle system, which is pretty cool because you get Hercules, and a bunch of other stuff that goes on there, and you're pretty much fighting all the different Heartless and bugs that's all over the place. And it's pretty cool because all your attacks are pretty much very similar to that of a turn-based RPG, like older versions of Final Fantasy games, like Final Fantasy 1, 2, 3, 4, things like that. It's pretty cool. It's pretty interesting. And each individual world has its own particular style and theme of a battle system. There's plenty of others. I'm not going to give too much more away because I want you guys to check it out and stuff, but you're going to be very happy and very intrigued about the different types of ways that you actually play this game. That's one of the things or pretty much that's the only thing I should say, apart from the story, that makes it from the actual mobile phone game all the way to the Nintendo DS version of this game. But besides that, what really stands out to me and what makes this, a lot better than 358/2 is that it pretty much takes what was done in 358/2 and in Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep and kind of melds the two together. So you have pretty much this basic structure, the basic, ideas and concepts that were in 358/2, where you have to pretty much, like all Kingdom Hearts games, are different commands and attacks and stuff on the side, and different actions and stuff, your shortcuts, and then they allow you to actually take different commands that which you could equip on a menu and actually map them to either the X or the Y button, like that, and then on the fly during the heat of combat you could actually just hit a button and it'll execute that particular command. So it's really cool. That's straight from Birth by Sleep. So pretty much it works really nicely. The battles are fast-paced. There's tons of moves that Sora can do. Pretty much, I should mention, for most of the game, with the exception of a few parts without giving too much away, you're only playing as Sora for the most part. That's all I'm going to say on that, because you got to play the game to check out all the other stuff. But there's tons of moves for Sora to do. Each one of Sora's moves and his equipment and his Keyblades could level up. Every time you defeat a particular enemy, you're getting an experience that not only levels you up, but levels up your equipment and your attacks and your magic and stuff. Speaking of leveling up, the way that you actually level up Sora in this game, besides what I just mentioned, is that there's this kind of like grid, which is like a data grid, and what Sora collects throughout his travels and also as he levels up, he gets these different microchips, because he's a digitized Sora. He's not not the actual real Sora, but he's a digitized version. So with these microchips on this map, you place them on different parts of the map, and it helps you not only level up your stats and, you know, different abilities and stuff, but you also unlock other abilities and other little like cheats and different things here and there, which is pretty cool. It's a nice new little take from what we're used to seeing, and when I was playing it, I didn't get the sense of what that Square Enix was drastically trying something new that was really hurting my actual time playing the game or the actual fun factor. I really enjoyed it. If the data grid, in my opinion, either reminds me of the sphere grid, like in Final Fantasy X, or very similar to the Crystallis grid in Final Fantasy 13, but all that aside, it's really interesting. It's simple enough to get on the fly. You know, there's a ton of special moves and things like that, a ton of abilities you can map on there, or, you know, equipped or level up with stuff like that. So it's interesting. It's pretty good. You guys might get a good kick out of it. So besides that, the story is interesting. Besides getting much more into that, there is a little bit of a multiplayer aspect to it. I haven't really had a lot of time to play around with it, but it has something to do with avatars. Of when you actually play through the game a certain amount, you actually unlock these different items to actually create an avatar that you have that you could customize and stuff like that. I'm not sure if there's any like specific stuff you could do with the avatar. I have to look more in depth with it, but, you know, I'm pretty sure, like, very similar to Kingdom Hearts 358 over 2 and Birth by Sleep, there is some decent multiplayer factor into there. I haven't heard much about, you know, multiplayer as far as co-op play, and I haven't seen anything like that, so I don't think that's probably part of the game. But overall, for a solo experience, this game is really a great Kingdom Hearts game. And another website, I believe it was either IGN or some other website, put it really nicely, is that pretty much this game gets back to the basics and brings out the characters of, you know, forward of what made us fall in love with the series, which meaning Sora, Donald, Goofy, and Mickey, etc. So it's pretty much, it's really good. There's hardly any filler and stuff. The story is really nicely. It's a little bit short, you know. It's not long like, for example, like Birth by Sleep was, or 358 over 2 was, but it's a little bit on the short side, but it's nice and sweet. So anyway, that's just my thoughts on Kingdom Hearts Recoded. Leave your comments and video responses, guys. I don't mind. Just keep it civil. Let me know what you guys think. Let me put it on the message boards if you guys love this game or hate it. If you guys are waiting for Kingdom Hearts 3DS or the inevitable Kingdom Hearts 3 like we all are pretty much waiting for, put it on the boards here. Anyway, I'm out, guys. I'll talk to you guys again soon. Venomous is out, and that was only the goddamn truth.